Welcome to Poetically Creative Mind podcast, hosted by me, BM the Poet. This podcast is for people with a creative mind who need a little inspiration. I will be interviewing everyday people with creative minds, doing original poetry for myself and others, having inspirational conversation, and more. This podcast will be available wherever you get your podcast from. My next guest is a musical poet and Christian rapper. His love for poetry and music began as a youth. His creative mind has set him to release his fourth album, Seven, and also his first poetry album, Life Out Loud. You can also check out more of his original poetry at his Facebook group, From the Attic Window. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Jamie Morris. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty wonderful. It's a pretty beautiful day, so I'm not going to complain at all.
Amazing day.
Yeah, hey, when you wake up, it's amazing.
I agree.
Yeah. So for the people out there that don't know much about you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a disabled vet, so, I went through that.
Well, thank you for your service. Same here with me, because I was stationed. Where was I? Fort Gordon.
I saw that. I did Fort Benning. And ended up at Fort Carson, Colorado. Two different worlds. I went from Iraq. I think they should keep the climate in mind when they send us places, because I went from Iraq at 140 degrees to Colorado, Fort Carson, where I got out at, and it can get 20 degrees.
Yeah. Now, the Army, they don't care. They're going to do what they want to do with you.
That's right.
So you were their property while you were there, so.
Yes, sir. Well, I was born in Commerce, Georgia, and I currently still live in Georgia in Homer. And as a young kid, I was a foster kid, and was a bit confused going from place to place. And I was dealing with therapists and social workers. I kind of felt like they were talking at me instead of to me, like I had all the problems and they had none. Mm-hmm. So I started writing. And when I started writing poetry, I realized it was something I could decode. You know what I mean? So I started writing, and it was really good therapy for me. So I've been writing since I was a young kid, and then went on to eventually also do Christian hip hop music. And since I met my current wife, she does music with me as well.
Before we talk about your music, I have a couple of songs that I want to play for the people so they can have a listen to what you have to offer. The first song is called Move.
Everybody know what time it is. Morris is back and spreading it. The news of Christ and what he did, so we'd have a chance to be born again, so that we could be victorious. Spread the word like a virus and showing love. How he spread his arms and died for us. No, we didn't deserve it, he believed in us. So throw your hands up and praise the Lord. There's so much to be thankful for, so much to be praying for. So tell me what you're waiting for. Just praise him like you never done. Know that victory is won. Let's move forward, tell everyone. All hands up for Christ the Son. Move like that, way back and forth like that. Praise like that, tell everyone he's coming back. And move like that, way back and forth like that. Praise like that, tell everyone he's coming back.
The next song that I'm going to play for you is called Jesus Freak.
You ain't got it yet, just watch and see. I'll turn you into a Jesus freak. There's a way we tear it up, from the back into the front. Look around and people stun. to my face, so it seems they wanna hate. But I don't care, I'm still gonna pray. Let's do what I do in Jesus' name. If you listen to my words, it won't sound that absurd. Forget about that rap you've heard. I just rap all by this word. Everybody's talking like they know me. It ain't the game, it's Christ I see. So don't tell the devil, get out of my way. 'Cause Jesus people coming to the place today.
This third and final song is called Forgive.
Wonder what they're playing with. Fire and they're in the pit, trying their best avoiding it. So the circle goes in, here it goes around again. All consumed by the sin, the devil is the dragon that breathes the fire onto them, turning them onto him. Says he's here, then gone again. Says he's right, wrong again. Look at Christ stepping in, forgiving them, all of them, for the sins, and yes, you're forgiven too. Forgive them, Lord, for they not know they said not know. Forgive them, Lord, for they not know they said not know. Forgive them, Lord, for they not know they said not know. Forgive them, Lord, forgive them, Lord.
That's pretty awesome. So y'all do the music thing together.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that is awesome. So tell me about 316 Crew.
Well, 316 Crew, we but formerly we were Morris, which is my last name, which is, you know, how we go by our last name in the military. And that's where I originally started doing music with a guy named P. Nice, who is currently in Augusta, Georgia. I realized that rap is essentially poetry to music.
Yeah.
And so I was able to do that really well. I started off with my 13th birthday asking for the Kool Moe Dee cassette tape. And then since then, I've loved rap music. And a lot of people take it out of context, but it's, you know, they associate rap music with just bad things. But I guess that just depends on who you're listening to and what you're listening to.
Yeah.
But we do Christian hip hop music. We currently have 3 albums out. The first one's called Serious. The second one's called Inner Peace. And then the third one's called All in His Plan. And then we're now currently working on our 4th album called 7.
7?
7.
And when do you plan on releasing that album?
The summer of 2022.
Okay. So we'll definitely have to keep our eye out for that.
But we have a lot of songs that people can go and listen to for free on our Facebook page, 316 Crew. And 316 is written just like the Bible. And then if you go on to Reverb Nation, we have all 3 albums there for free to listen to.
Free? Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And on there, it's Reverb Nation /316 Crew with the words 316 Crew instead of the numbers. So anybody can go there and listen to it, and all for free. And then they can purchase the album on there too if they want to support.
But definitely don't just go listen, people. Purchase it and support. You know, it never hurts to show us a little love, just a little bit.
Hey, yeah, and I put it all back into it anyway. I'm not hurting. I'm not rich, but I'm rich in love, and I'm at a good place. So everything that everybody uses to purchase my music or my poetry album, it all goes right back into it to put more out there. And the way I do things is, if you can afford it, then buy it. If you can't afford it, let me know. I'll send you one for free. And if you can overly afford it, purchase 2, get 1 so somebody else can have one. So that's kind of how I do things.
Yeah. Hey, it's all about sharing and helping, reaching others.
Amen.
The small little things that we do for people.
Yeah.
Recently spoke about your an upcoming poetry album,
Yes.
Life Out Loud.
So, Life Out Loud, right?
Yes.
Life Out Loud is an album with 25 plus poems on it put to music, and it's only going to be $5 plus $5 shipping, which is not too bad. It's a lot, it's a lot of work going into not only writing, but then recording and then putting it to music and then producing it. And, like I said, everything that I do is going to go right back into it. And right now we're starting today, we're taking pre-orders on Venmo and Cash App. And that's at Jamie MBP, JAMIE MBP, if you would like to order one. And like I said, if you can't afford it, hit me up and I'll send you one for free. And if you can afford more than one and you want to help somebody else, do that too. We're all about giving here.
So is this a album you worked on your own, or did you collaborate with others to?
Well, I tell you, it really means a lot to me because I've written everything on the album. It's all my work. But there is a couple of bonus poems on there that my 13-year-old and my 18-year-old daughters have done the narrations to. So that makes it even extra special for me.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful when you can bring the family into something that you love and they are drawn to it as well.
Absolutely. I did a whole album for my wife for our anniversary. I got this box together and I had all the poems that I wrote for her printed into a booklet. And then I had CDs made where they were all done to music, and it was called I Finally Found Perfect. And I presented that to my wife. So that's exclusively to her. So I have a little bit of experience working on the poetry albums, which is a little bit different from the music, but I mean, kind of the same. But for $5, I mean, you're getting over 25 poems and my heart at the same time.
You can't beat that. There's no price you can really put on it, but
yeah, I try to do it as minimal as I could. Because like I said, I want to go back into it. I want to make, more albums. I want to make, I want my ultimate goal is to do a book. And so I'll have an album and a book and, different things. And then, eventually find out the poems and the quotes from the poems that people like, and maybe even eventually do some t-shirts or something like that. I don't want to get too drastic, but, just a little stuff where, people can show off their favorite stuff and listen to their favorite stuff.
So I see that you're working on a 10-part series called The Box.
Yes.
So what is The Box all about?
Well, in this day and age, people have all kinds of technology, especially, the younger generation. They have all this technology that distracts them from the world. I even wrote a poem way back when called Look Up. And they don't really take time to notice the little things that they're passing by every single day. Mm-hmm. So I began try to find a journey to get people to take away all of their distractions and just take a moment to themselves and just really think about things and see things for more than what they are. So if you can imagine yourself in a box the size of like a one-room apartment, all alone in the middle of the ocean with everything you need to survive for a 10-day journey, what kinds of things would you observe with your eyes and your mind when you're away from all the normal things in your life and you're all alone without any distractions? So this series gives a perspective on the many details we often pass up and simply just going through in our lives, or simply just too busy to stop and take notice. So I think that people, when they start reading it, they look for more, and I think it takes them to that box.
And that's the great thing about poetry. As I always say, it can take you somewhere without you going anywhere.
Absolutely. I love it.
Oh, sir, I am right there with you. And the box, that's an interesting concept because, like you said, there's things that people always just take for granted in their normal day life because their head's stuck down in the phone, or they're just in a rush to get where they're going. So, having something to just have a different perspective on is always.
I've been trying to talk on that a little bit. I wrote a poem not too long ago called "If the World Took Time to Notice," but I wanted to do more than just that. I wanted to take them out of their space for a minute and put them in a place that continues. And if they want more, then they keep themselves in that space. And for a moment, they can go, wow, that's not just a tree. There's a nest there, and there's, a bird there, and there's, just see past just the normal.
Yeah. Like, I like to sit outside and just enjoy nature. I would say
yes, I do too.
Because it's a beautiful thing, even with all the sounds of I'm near the city, so it's always cars and other things, but there's always those moments where it's just nice and quiet.
Yeah, I tend to get up every morning and go out on my porch and drink my coffee and just look out. And it's inspired me to write poems like "Good Morning, Morning," saying good morning to the morning and watching the nature come alive.
Mm-hmm.
I've wrote quite a few poems on just seeing nature.
Yeah, nature's a beautiful thing, and unfortunately, we lose a little bit of it every day.
Oh yeah,
with always wanting the new construction and this and that. So
right,
what we have to definitely enjoy it.
I agree totally.
You also have your Facebook page, From the Attic Window.
Yes.
Now, tell me about that, because sitting in the attic window, I've never really had the experience of being in the attic window.
I came up with the name From the Attic Window because, just like you said, nobody really sits up in the attic, too much. But if you're up in the attic, you're away from everybody else. You're all by yourself, and you can finally let your thoughts not be distracted and just come out. And, so I put myself mentally like I'm sitting, looking through the attic window to the world, and just begin to write and overflow with so many things. And every day I'm just writing.
So is there a certain type of poetry we can find from the attic window?
Usually I do 4-bar rhyming schemes. So every other line rhymes with every other line. But there's also a story in each one. And there's in just about anything you can think of, I've written about in some way, fashion, or form. I mean, I've even seen a lizard and wrote the poem "Mr. Lizard," and talking to a lizard, or a hummingbird comes to visit, and talking about that whole idea. And I wrote about the birds when they come, when I have the birds' house out there with their food, that they're coming to a home, like a meeting place where they can come together and talk. So I've just about anything you can think of, I've probably written about it.
So I see that life and nature has a big influence into your writing. And I guess your music as well.
Yeah, it's solidarity. I like those peaceful moments come when I'm one with nature and the world, and when I'm one with God. And then, with people and society, it's things I notice. And I try to see past any of the bad stuff and see the potential in whatever it is. And then that potential is what I try to write about when it comes to my music and poetry.
So, because I was talking to a guy the other day, and I called him a musical poet.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to have to coin you that as well.
Well, I really appreciate that.
Because like we spoke of earlier. Go ahead.
I always say that music is what feelings sound like, and that poetry is what feelings feel like.
Ah, wow. I like that. Like that a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because I've always thought that, but I guess never had the words to put it in. Even with me loving poetry, I never came up with the words for that. But that, what you just said now.
Yeah. For me, that's how it is. I can read somebody's poem and it'll take me to a world that maybe they didn't even intend to, because when everybody reads poetry, they may get something different out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal is to get something out of it, to make you feel a certain way, or to let you know that you're not alone, or to make you feel better.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons that I started writing poetry, is because I was like, I know I'm not the only person that feels this way. And that's
right
behind the reason I started sharing as well. It's like, I know it can't just be me.
No.
I think that's one of the great things when you post something and somebody says, man, I really feel that. It's like, it's somebody else.
And also I hope that when we write that we encourage others to write as well, because I think that they'll find that that's great therapy, and they get stuff off their chest and then they go back and read it and they're like, wow, I didn't know I had this in me.
Yeah, you'll find a lot out about yourself from writing.
Oh yes,
because sometimes you just get into that phase where you're just writing stuff down. You're not even like, there's times where you're writing and you're thinking about what you're writing because you want a certain thing to come out. But then there's those times where it's just coming out, and you just end up with one of the longest poems you wrote because it was just pouring out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've done that so many times, and I go back and I go, wow, okay, that's good.
Yeah, that's how.
But when you get, like I said, it's like talking to somebody about your feelings, but you're writing it down. And then when you go and share that with the world, sometimes you can feel like, okay, I hope they accept this. I hope they perceive this, in a good way. And I hope it helps someone.
Yeah, and that's the thing I really love about poetry, because you can spill your emotions totally different than you can in person.
Yes, sir.
Because some people
that's
say, like,
true.
Man, why haven't you said anything? Or why didn't it's like it's just not the same for me to.
Yeah,
that's not how I am. That's not how I work. Where I'm pouring out my emotions in front of you.
Absolutely. Yeah. You could say so many things. You could say, I believe that poetry is those pictures are worth 1,000 words, or either I just don't, I want to tell you how I feel, but I just can't explain it to you. I believe poetry can be the explanation. It's the things that sometimes you just can't say out loud. Yeah. It's your feelings that you're writing down. That's why I say poetry is what feelings feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, because people get to definitely know you on a different level through your words.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it helps them to understand why you are the way you are, or why you may do things a certain way.
Sure.
So it definitely helps the writer and the reader in multiple ways.
Absolutely.
Let's see. So you spoke about a couple of poems earlier. Would you like to read those poems, or do you have poems that you
Yeah, I have a couple of poems that I have pulled up that I think that people may like.
Okay. Well, when you are ready to share your poetry, you are more than welcome.
The first one's called The Untouchable. We are taught limits growing up, the seeds we bear from past generations. They told us to reach for the sky. Yeah, but know your limitations. Then we wonder why we can't reach our goals in life. We wonder why we give up when things get too tough. We wonder why we never made it to shine that bright. We wonder why we're just making it and things are rough. We walk to the edge but never jump. We hear the world's songs but never sing. We are okay with just being normal, whatever that really means. Then we wonder why we don't feel like we fit in. We wonder why we don't feel like we belong. We wonder why we don't feel like we're enough. We wonder why we feel the beat but never see the drum. Because we never reached for the untouchable. We don't even know how it feels. We have never truly felt complete living daily through life's movie reel. Is untouchable even real? Does it truly even exist? Is it all in our minds because we are afraid to persist? Perhaps if you just believe in yourself and never let anyone define your potential in our lives, we can conquer the untouchable and make it touchable to reach for the skies.
That was beautiful work. Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Should aspire to be untouchable.
Yeah.
I love how your poetry flows.
Thank you.
That
really means a lot to me.
Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for letting us listen in.
It's an honor.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. But before we go, do you have anything, any words for the people?
Absolutely. Take time to go by the poetry pages on Facebook and also pick up some poetry books, because I think that you may read something that may change your life. You will see things from a different perspective than even the poet itself. And I love Maya Angelou and I love Robert Frost, two different worlds, but amazing stories and amazing things that are within the poetry. And take time also to listen to Brian's podcast. He has some great people on there. And I think that those stories will change your life also.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, you heard the words from the man himself. I'd like to thank you for coming on.
It's an honor.
And please let me know when you are releasing your albums, because we're definitely going to let everybody know about that as well.
The pre-order is now. If you go by From the Attic Window Facebook page, then there is the Venmo and the Cash App there. And if you can't afford it, once again, let me know, and I'll be glad to send you one for free.
All right. On that note, you have a good day.
God bless.
Thanks for coming on this journey with me. Please follow me at BM the Poet on Instagram and BM the Poet on Twitter. Please rate it 5 stars, subscribe, and share. Have a good evening.